Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Cotner, Principal Analyst here at Deltek. Today's session is the Governor's Agendas, how they drive the market. Today joining us is Chris Dixon, Senior Manager for State and Local Industry Analysis here at Deltek. So starting off, Chris, how long has Deltek been reviewing the Governor's Agendas and why?
Since 2007, right about the time I joined Deltek, I found we did a great job of reviewing opportunities at the tactical level. We also did a good job of looking at things at the operational level, such as IT strategic plans. But we really didn't look at that macro or strategic level where the governors implement their agendas. And this is an important layer. This is where they take federal directives and translate their impact to state government. And state governments also have wide-ranging impact on local government. So I really felt that this should be the center of gravity for our research into the state and local market.
And what changes have you seen in the market since you launched this report?
Well, really we've seen two things. The first is we saw that we had governors in 2007 with really a boom time agenda, very forward-looking, very ambitious. Then we went into a recession, so they really had to begin looking at how do they right-size their spending and their activities to the new budget environment. So that was really a big change in the way they were doing business, and we had to really chronicle that through 2008, 9, 10, 2011. The other big change that we've seen is the increasing partisanship in the governor's agendas. We really see that the governors are lining up with their colleagues in Washington either in advancing or opposing certain policies. And I think the recent health insurance exchanges were really a prime example of that. So that's something that vendors will have to be mindful of in the future.
How has the recessionary cycle played out in the governor's agenda for state government operations?
Well, really it follows a predictable cycle that we call freeze/improve. When budgets first start taking a downturn, they freeze everything. They go into maintenance mode. No more hiring, no more budget increases. Once they come to terms with the fact that the situation is going to be getting worse, they engage in a whole lot of budget cutting, tax increases. That's really the slashing mode. Basically, employee furloughs, employee layoffs. IT usually goes into a deep freeze during that sort of environment. Then when they come out of that, as we've seen in the last couple of years, it's a phase I call improve. And this is where they look to rehire some employees, such as teachers and police officers. But for those back-end functions, they're really looking for IT to help them improve government operations while keeping headcount down. So this is really over the last 2-3 years where we've seen the sunshine come out on IT and really the opportunity for IT vendors to really begin to implement the next phase of government post-recession.
So how are governors looking to make use of IT in their current agendas, and then how can vendors capitalize on this?
Well, there's really two ways. When you look at the governor's agendas, some of those agenda items deal with IT in government directly, but that's maybe only 10% of the things they talk about. However, you can be confident that if one governor's talking about classroom technology or another governor's talking about rural telemedicine, pretty much all the governors care about this, they just haven't mentioned it in their speeches. So you can't really look at that small number of mentions and assume that governors aren't enthusiastic about IT. IT 5-10 years ago didn't even make it into governor's speeches very often, so today we're seeing a much better baseline. The second thing that they can keep in mind is a lot of agenda items don't mention IT, but there's a lot of implications for IT. For example, governors are looking to reduce their spending on incarceration by using community supervision for nonviolent offenders. Now, this has big implications for whether it's remote monitoring of offenders that are in community supervision. It also involves the case management systems for probation and parole officers. It also involves a variety of systems integration activities around the social services welfare type systems. And when you look at really the costs of incarceration and social services spending, you're looking at a pretty huge chunk of overall government spending. So there's a great opportunity there for vendors to think about how can my solution either serve that direct governmental need, or how can it provide resources or free up resources in a different area to be used in an area that a governor of a given state might care about. So that's really where the vendor has to read in how their solutions match up to some of these governor's agenda items and how they can go into a state and then market what they do as an opportunity to help someone fulfill that agenda.
So contractors can find all of this in the recent State of the State report?
All of this and more. A lot of Deltek's research is really designed around helping vendors be able to drill down into the information that we provide. So when we look at the market from a strategic level, we're looking at all the same verticals down that you'll find in our opportunities database. So it's really about giving you a seamless view of the market from top to bottom. We also provide, along with this research, access directly to those agenda items that we've compiled from the governor's speeches. So their vendors can take a look at that information related to a specific state or a specific project in a state. We also classify this information by horizontal cross-cutting categories such as performance improvement, workforce development, so that those vendors who maybe have a cross-cutting view of government or an enterprise-wide view of government can take that information and put it to use as well. And that's why you can look at one of our bar charts and you can see how you can see the exact agenda items that really informed that particular information as part of the report.
Thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure.